one of those characteristics was the emphasis of the Holy Prophet, both practically and how he taught the mu'mineen and mu'minat on work and being industrious. The Prophet wasn't a lazy person. He didn't like to see laziness. We're in a society where the gradual push, because everything is about the nafs, some values like integrity or even like work are now sometimes, and I'll explain about it inshallah a little bit, are being slowly erased. I mean, now, for instance, I mean, you guys have heard in America they've legalized pot, right? And the rumors are, not inshallah, I won't say inshallah, shaitan, but maybe Canada will be next, right? Pot. Next thing you know, Muslims start to ask, oh, you know, is it halal, pot, halal? We find a way to trick the marja, tell the marja, there's a substance and it's medicinal, right? You know, if you smoke this substance, you feel, not just tell the marja, can I smoke pot? No. Right? So what happens? This is coming, okay? Values are being destroyed. What was the Islamic value? The Islamic value was work. Let me give you some examples, okay? One of them is that they said the Prophet of Allah, he would be walking, he would see a young man, and he would be impressed by him. Maybe he's very strong, strapping young man, healthy, alhamdulillah. He would see this person. Kana Rasulullah, إِذَا نَظَرَ إِلَى الرَّجُلِ, he would look at a person, at a man, and then he would be impressed. فَأَعْجَبَهُ. Then he would say these words. There were two things the Prophet would ask about when he would see young men that he was impressed about. Two things they tell us he would ask about. One of them, هَلْ لَهُ حِرْفَةٌ? Does this guy have a skill? He has a skill, he has a job, he's working, he's doing something? The people, when this particular individual, the people would say no. قَالُوا لَا. Didn't have any skill. He's a big guy, but you know. The Prophet would say these words, سَقَطَ مِنْ عَيْنِي. Not impressed. Young man, sitting around, nothing to do, not working. I'm not impressed. Other hadith, even scarier hadith, right? Now this one applies to brothers and sisters. They said, this is again words of the Prophet, he says, in Allah, يُبْغِضُ الصَّحِيحَ الْفَارِغ. Allah hates to see the person who's healthy and nothing to do, unoccupied. لا في شغل الدنيا ولا في شغل الآخرة. Not working to make their akhirah better, not working to work this world better, just sitting around. What are you doing? Playing video games? I'm not saying video games are haram, by the way. Right? The little guys over there looking at me, haram? No. But my whole life, 8 hours a day, video games? Too much video games is not good for us. Wasting my life away. I do nothing with my life. Right? So now, again, this doesn't mean, though, for our sisters, that means every sister needs to be out and working. Right? That's the, oh, I'm at home, I'm a housewife, I'm taking care of, so I'm doing nothing. And there's some brothers who, what do you do all day? They have no idea how hard it is to be out. You want to get gray hair really quickly? Try and do what your wife does at home. You'll see. Okay? So it's a full-time job. So we're not saying, but if somebody's doing nothing, I'm not going to school, I'm not just sitting around. What are you doing? Just enjoying. Right? Allah doesn't like that. Even being religious isn't an excuse. Why don't you do anything all day? Because I do tasbih and dhikr and dua. They said that in the time of the Holy Prophet, these group of people had traveled. They went to make Hajj. Right? Apparently they meant to make Hajj. They arrive in Medina. When they arrive in Medina, they tell the Prophet, by the way, there was one guy on this trip, and this guy was so impressive. He said, so explain to the Prophet, what used to happen? Whenever we would come, we would stop in a particular area. Let's say we're going to make Hajj, or now we're returning from Hajj. We go over, and this guy would put down the prayer mat. Allahu Akbar. Dua, dhikr, supplications. MashaAllah, what a wonderful brother. So the Prophet asked him, he said, who would do his work? Take care of his animal, or get firewood? Who would do that? He said, we would do all of that. The Prophet said, all of you are better than this individual. Islam, the idea of Islam, oh, I just worship, I do dua. No. What's your responsibility? What's your duty? So Allah does, we see from this that we're not supposed to be these people who are just lazy and not doing anything, stuff like that. No, work, industry. That idea that this is something we consider ibadah, earning halal income, right? It's considered jihad fi ahadith, in our ahadith. That the person who struggling to earn a living, put food on the table for his family, kal mujahid fi sabilillah. Right? So instead of us getting a midlife crisis, what am I doing here? We know our neighbors, our friends. What am I doing? For us as a mu'min, no, I'm ibadah. This is ibadah. Jihad fi sabilillah. Right? So that's the expectation. In addition to that, so that's one point, the idea of that. The next point is this: just working and not going anywhere. Right? Mediocrity. I'm just mediocre. I don't do anything. I'm not excellent. I'm not trying to achieve. I'm just floating along. I go to work every day. I come home. No plan, no ambition, trying to do something. No, nothing like that. Actually, we learn again from the ahadith that we're supposed to be excellent. If we're going to be working, if we're going to be at our job or school or whatever it is the mu'min does, we want to be excellent at. That's the expectation for us. If we want to be the elite soldiers of the 12th Imam, the expectation is that we'll be excellent. Let me give you another practical example from the life of the Holy Prophet. That they said the Prophet, when they were burying his son Ibrahim, he saw that by the grave that they were fixing, there's a little area over there that's not fixed properly. So the Prophet goes over, even for a grave, and he corrects it. Then he said these words. He says, إِذَا عَمِلَ أَحَدُكُمْ عَمَلًا, whenever one of you wants to do something, you set your mind to do something, you're going to do a task, فَلْيُتْقِنْ, right? Do it properly. Be excellent. The idea I'm a Muslim and I'm mediocre, I'm just floating, I go through school, but I'm not the best. We want our mu'mineen and mu'minat in school to be the best, at work to be everything we do for the sake of God, but we do it very well. Now there are others, non-Muslims for instance, who push themselves also. Right? Because of the way this rabid capitalism is and how merciless it is, you always feel basically like football players. You know what they tell football players? That you're only as good as last Sunday. Right? Last Sunday you were a cornerback, you intercepted the ball, alhamdulillah. This week you didn't, we can let you go, right? So that even at work, you don't feel secure. Right? So some people do motivate themselves. If they, Sheikh, but here in Canada, for instance, people do motivate themselves. They work hard, they try and learn new things. But why? What's the motivation? The motivation for some people is, I don't want to become obsolete. I don't want to be let go from work. So I'm working and I'm working hard and I'm trying to be excellent. But what's the motivation? The dunya. Is it bringing you close to God? No, it's fear. Dunya. But if somebody can do this for the sake of God, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then that would really be excellent. That I'm trying to be excellent at whatever it is that I do. Jazakumullah khairan. But why I do that? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.